Do you like hanging around in your comfort zone, doing things you enjoy, not really pushing the boundaries of discomfort? Well, it might be silently killing you. Or maybe it's not. But if it is, you're in
Maybe
luck
you're
because
just
today's
happy.
episode because today's episode we're talking about why your comfort zone is killing you. This is the Existential Stoic podcast. I'm Randy. That's Danny. What's going on, Danny?
What's up, Randy?
Yeah, this is an interesting one because the comfort zone is comfortable. It feels good, but it's oftentimes not good.
Well, yeah, it can be really bad, but it's also weird because we can get used to anything, right? So your comfort zone could be actually a bad situation, in which case it's really bad, right? It could also be good things, and it's hard. I think that's where you have to actually also think about this and reflect on it too a little bit. But I know I felt this myself, right? It's like that fear of going outside of what's normal, of what you're used to, that fear of failure, success, all that stuff that stops us from making decisions that might actually make us better off.
Yeah. And it's hard because I feel like a lot of stuff I do is to try and feel comfortable, to try and reduce pain and increase pleasure,
Like
essentially.
98% of what we do. Yeah.
Essentially. But there's this funny saying that I heard where nobody ever died from uncomfortable.
Yeah. It's the truth, right?
Yeah.
But think about it.
But it's
I think back, how many conversations have you not had? Because
all of them.
and then eventually you have it and you're like, it wasn't like that hard, right? And you feel better afterwards. Or like how many things have
Hmm.
you put off making the decision for way too long and then you finally make it and it's better and it's like, I should have did this 3 years ago.
Well,
You
it's
know?
it's like that poem by Anais Nin where it's like talking about some type of blossom where eventually the whatever to bloom overrode
I
the
know what you're
thing to
talking about.
stay, whatever. Yeah. I know. It's a lot better if you actually read it
That's a
than
good
my
summary though.
interpretation. Yeah. But I think that's kind of what we have to do is like we have all these conflicting things, and eventually it just has to become so painful that it needs to push you over the edge in order to do it. Otherwise, we would just never do it. We would just stay in, I mean, essentially, we would just stay in our mother's womb
Right?
until we die.
I do wonder that though. Like it's like it is like a kind of that catch-22 kind of thing though, where like you make the choice eventually though, and it's good, right? You finally step out of your comfort zone, and then you have to wonder like, should I have done this sooner? But could I have? Right? Like, did I need all this converging pressure to finally force it? Or,
Hmm.
and it's like if I got in the habit of making these decisions faster or sooner rather than waiting until that critical moment, would it be better or would it not be as good? That's always the hard thing too. It's like it's hard to know.
Well, okay, so I we were talking before this episode about some issues that I've been having recently, and I was reading the Tao Te Ching, chapter 15, where it talks about can you stay patient and allow the mud to settle? Can you remain unmoved until the path to progress is
I love the
clear?
Tao Te Ching. It's great.
Yeah, and it was just one of those things where like I was so agitated that I needed to make some type of move now. And it's just like, well, maybe I just need to wait until it settles and see what happens. And definitely by giving it more time, I got some more clarity in the situation. And also, like, it allowed it to kind of bubble up to a point where had I have made the move earlier, uh, it I would have still been kind of like not sure. But now I'm just like, I've gotten to the point where it's like, well, it's either going to be one of two things, and that's just the way it's going to be.
Also, by letting it settle too, you don't walk into that situation angry or something, where then it
Hmm.
could go worse just because, yeah, I think that's actually a good point. And maybe that is also why we wait for those pressures to kind of get to that point because it's like you're also kind of giving yourself a chance to come to terms with it almost, come to terms with the decision, realize
Hmm.
that it actually is right. Because I think that's the other side of it, right? You could also just constantly change things, but then you're probably not going to get anywhere, and you're going to be making a lot of bad decisions as well because you're kind of running away from things rather than seeing if it's right. So I like that idea, settling
Yeah.
maybe a little.
You ever hear that thing in the Bible? I think it was Paul or something talking about how he had this like a thorn in his side and he asked God a whole bunch of times to take it away, but he wouldn't. But it's just like I kind of feel like that all the time how no matter how comfortable things get, there's always some thorn in my side. It doesn't, it's never the same. It's a different thorn
Yeah.
all the time. And as soon as I remove that thorn, there's another one in my
Yeah.
side.
But it's
And it's just
like
like,
it's kind of too that that's like how we change things, right? I mean, we improve things, we make things better by dissatisfaction. I actually always like that from like John Stuart Mill, right? That like the dissatisfaction we have is also a means to growth, to better things, because it's how we see what needs to be changed in the world. So those thorns in your side, they're also kind of in a way motivation to make changes. And we've talked about it a ton of times. No matter what you do, there's always problems. There's just always gonna like no matter what we do, no matter what we achieve, there's always another problem. We just haven't found it yet, or we just haven't got there yet to see it, you know? So it is
mhm.
kind of a pain. I know it's like we all wish for like this mythical time where like everything's fine and works out and every day is like,
Happily ever after. But
yeah,
they happen in children's movies. I mean,
I
in
know.
children's
God, I think so
stories.
much of that stuff probably effed up so many people, dude, for real.
Hmm.
Because like,
Yeah.
it's almost like subliminal too. Like you don't even like realize you believe it but you've heard it so
Hmm.
many times and even like stories like we read a lot of like stories whether they mean to or not have that sort of ending, don't they? Like if you think about it, it's the hero's journey,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Things work
Yeah.
out. Yeah,
Yeah. Happily ever after.
I
Jeez.
don't know,
So,
it's tough.
yeah.
Yeah.
So how can you tell if you are just kind of sitting in your comfort zone?
I was thinking about this. I don't know, it's tough because I think if you have like if you feel yourself resisting change over a period of time, that's probably a good example that or probably a good indication that you're staying stuck in your comfort zone and you're afraid to look out. Because there's also the risk too that you turn away from stuff and hide in your comfort zone, right? That you hide in what's normal rather than make changes that you need to make. But it's a hard thing because I think everybody's a little different. I think for me at least, it's like that realization that like there's this discomfort I keep feeling and keep coming up against that's kind of suggesting a change needs to be made, and I'm not
Mm.
responding quickly enough. And that's usually an
Mm.
indication I'm staying stuck.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Usually when the universe kind of gives you hints
Yeah.
and
And they
yeah,
can be
when it
pretty
pushes you.
apparent.
And if you ignore them, they just get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. Well, it's like that's kind of what happened to me with my job. Originally it was like, I could clearly see the trends in university and what was happening. On the one hand, like logically, I knew the path, what was going on. But in the back of my mind, I kept saying, well, no, it'll be all right because I've been here for this long and this and that, right? And like, so like, it was like I was trying to convince myself that what I saw in the world didn't match the reality I was experiencing. And that's a good indication, right? That I'm trying to justify that same situation. Yeah.
Mhm.
Get the hell
Yeah,
out of the
so
comfort zone, man. Screw it,
there
right?
you have it, why your comfort zone is killing you. Anyways, if you have ideas for episodes, certainly let us know. Until next time, this is the Existential Stoic Podcast. I'm Randy. That's Danny. I'll see you later, Danny.
Later, Randy.